Blogging is dead. You know, if I had $1 for every time I've heard that sentence in, like, the last 5 years, I'd be doing this from a yacht.
Oh, definitely. You'd be somewhere in Portland, for sure. It's the advice that just won't die.
It really won't. And I think people want it to be true because, let's be honest, writing is hard.
It's so much easier to just, post a picture of a keychain that says sold and call it a day.
Exactly. But here we are, it's 2026, and we're looking at this amazing guide from Jamaica Homes. And it argues that not only is blogging not dead, but for one very specific group realtors in Jamaica, it might be the most powerful tool they have left.
But it only works if you stop treating it like a diary. The source is so clear about this. You have to treat your blog like a business asset, not just a content farm.
Right. The whole here's my coffee, now buy $1 million house for me thing is just, it's over.
It's so over.
So this deep dive is based on their article, Blogging in Jamaica as a Realtor in 2026. Still worth it if you treat it like an asset. And our mission today is pretty simple. How can a blog become a partner that works while you sleep, especially in a market like Jamaican real estate, which is so full of, well, anxiety?
And that anxiety piece is everything. It's the key. The source makes this really smart point that we've moved past just content creation. We're now in an era of service provision. If your marketing isn't serving a client's anxiety, it's just noise.
Okay, let's get into that, because the context is crucial here. We're not talking about selling sneakers. We're talking about buying property in Jamaica. And the way the source describes it, it is not a casual decision.
Not at all. As they say in the guide, you don't buy a 2-bedroom in St. Catherine just based on vibes.
Right.
This is a huge deal. It's family money, it's life savings, it's a whole bureaucratic maze you have to navigate.
And they have this character, which I think is just brilliant. They call him the Midnight Googler.
I think we've all been the midnight Googler.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's 2 a.m, you're staring at the ceiling, worried about a deposit you're about to send. You're not looking for top 10 living rooms.
No. You're typing in very specific, panicked questions, like, how do I know if a land title in Jamaica is clean? Or what are the hidden fees in a strata? Or how long does the NHT really take to approve a loan?
The source lists those exact worries.
Yeah.
Titles, valuation numbers, what strata rules actually mean, and that big one, is the land really clean? That's a heavy question.
It is. It speaks to a deep fear of, fraud or old family disputes. And traditionally, people would ask family for that stuff. Or they'd call a brethren who knows somebody at the bank.
The classic brethren network.
Exactly. That's still important. But the source points out that today, even with the brethren, people want something verified. They're dealing with these big, intimidating institutions, the NHT, JN, Scotia, VMBS, and they feel small.
So that's the gap. That's the opportunity.
Precisely. The blog lets a realtor meet that midnight Googler right where they are, in their moment of peak panic. Calmly. Consistently. And if you can answer their 2 a.m. questions, the source says you become the first person they trust, long before they're even ready to make a call.
Which brings us to this big strategy shift. The guide says most real estate blogs fail, and it's because they're basically just online brochures. Look at my listing. Look at me.
That's what the source calls noise. It's just a classified ad that takes longer to read. And nobody's Googling at midnight for more ads. They want solutions.
So the move is from content to service.
Right. The goal isn't to impress other realtors. The goal is to reduce fear, confusion, and risk for the actual buyer.
I really like their example about value. They said if you can just explain one complex thing clearly, like what a valuation number is, you've created actual value for that person.
And that value is paid back in trust. It's interesting. The source has this sidebar with all these tools, like mortgage calculators, HOA calculators, construction calculators.
I saw that. Even a rent versus buy calculator.
They're not just widgets. They're signals. They signal, I'm here to help you do the math, not just take your money. It reinforces that whole helpful expert thing.
Okay, so let's say I'm a realtor. I'm sold on this. I want to be helpful. But the source says being generally helpful is a trap.
The trap of the generalist. Yeah. Real estate tips is just too broad. You can't compete with the whole internet. The rule is choose a lane and own it.
Be specific. And they give some fantastic examples for the Jamaican context. Let's run through a few because they're so good. First one, first-time buyers.
Right. So if that's your lane, you are not writing about luxury villas. Yeah. You are the expert on the NHT and National Housing Trust. You're talking deposits, affordability. You're basically holding their hand through the whole savings process.
You're almost like a financial coach who also sells houses.
Exactly. And then you have the diaspora. That's a huge, huge market.
Massive. And their problems are totally different.
Completely. They're sitting in London or Toronto. Their anxiety isn't just about money, it's distance. They need to know about power of attorney, remote viewings. If you become the expert on buying from abroad, you own that entire conversation.
That's so true. The questions are just worlds apart. What about location? They mentioned Kingston and St. Andrew.
A very specific beast. That's apartments, townhouses. So your blog has to be about strata fees, service charges, water tanks, parking.
Parking, always a nightmare in Kingston.
Always. I mean, if you wrote a detailed post on which Kingston complexes have decent visitor parking, I guarantee you people would read it, which is so different from, say, St. Catherine.
Yeah, that's Portmore, Spanish Town. It's family homes.
Right. So now you're talking about schools, commute times, the toll roads, new developments. It's a suburban conversation.
It really shows that Jamaica real estate isn't just one thing.
Not at all. Then there's the investment crowd. They want to know about Airbnb, but more importantly, ROI reality.
ROI reality, I like that. So telling them what they'll actually make, not just the fantasy.
Exactly. Busting the myths. And finally, there's land. Buying raw land can be, well, the Wild West.
The source mentioned things like surveys, boundaries.
And access roads. Can you even get to the land? If you're the land expert, you are literally saving people from financial disaster.
So the lesson is, pick one. Don't try to be the expert on strata fees and farm boundaries.
At least not when you're starting out. Be the go-to person for one specific problem. That's how you build real authority.
Okay, so we've got our service mindset, we've got our niche. But where do the ideas come from? I feel like writer's block is the #1 reason people quit.
And the source has the perfect answer for that. It says your content plan is already in your phone,
In my phone.
in your WhatsApps, your call logs. The advice is simple. Every question a client has asked you more than once is a blog post.
That is so simple, but it's brilliant. If 2 people asked you, 200 people are Googling it.
It ties back to that idea of chasing friction, not trends. Don't worry about what's on TikTok. Find the places where people get stuck or scared.
The sample headlines in the source are, I mean, they're not sexy, but they are so clickable if you have that problem. Like, what does good title really mean in Jamaica?
See? Perfect. If you're about to spend $40 million, that headline stops you cold. It speaks directly to a fear.
Or this one, stamp duty versus transfer tax. What you actually pay.
That's chasing friction. It's confusing. Everyone knows there are taxes, but nobody knows which is which. You're providing a service just by clearing that up.
Apartments in Jamaica, how strata fees work and what they can hide. Ooh, the what they can hide part is good.
It is. It's honest. It tells the reader you're an insider who's on their side.
And for the land buyers, buying land in Jamaica, red flags to watch before you pay a deposit.
That is a public service announcement. You're saving someone from losing their life savings. And if I read that article and you save me from a bad deal, who do you think I'm calling when I find the right one?
You're calling that person immediately.
Exactly. You're not just creating content. You're building an encyclopedia of trust.
So let's talk about how to write them, because the source warns you not to sound like a textbook, but also not like a skit.
It's a balance. The reader in 2026 is busy, they're suspicious. So the guide suggests this 5-step structure they call a guided conversation.
Okay, walk me through it.
Step 1, start with the real worry. Just name it. You're worried about the title, get right to it.
Got it. Step 2.
Explain it in plain Jamaican English.
I like that phrase, professional but not stiff.
Exactly. You're a professional, not writing a comedy sketch. Step 3, give a simple checklist. People love checklists. They make big problems feel small.
And step 4.
A realistic example. Imagine you're buying a lot in Mandeville. Make it real. And then step 5 is the most important. End with a clear next step.
The call to action.
Yep, but a low-pressure one, like download our guide or email me if you're still not sure. Not a big, scary BY Now button.
That feels so doable. You're just filling in 5 blanks, really. It's not some big mystery.
And it respects the reader's time. It's, here's your problem, here's the solution, here's what to do next. Done.
So let's get to the payoff, because this takes time, and we're all obsessed with going viral and getting 1,000 likes.
And the source is really blunt here. Likes are vanity metrics. You have to ignore them.
Because you can't pay your bills with likes.
Especially not in real estate. You aren't selling T-shirts. You need to reach the 50 people with a deposit ready, not 100,000 teenagers.
So what are the real metrics then?
Serious inquiries. and what the guide calls warmer calls.
Warmer calls. I love that. What is that?
It's when the phone rings and the person says, "Hi, I read your article about valuation numbers." That person is already sold on your expertise. They trust you. The whole conversation starts on another level.
The guide does some math on this. It says even if only 20 people read a post.
Right. If 20 people read it, but 2 of them become clients. In real estate, that's a massive win. That one article just paid for itself 10 times over. You need the right eyeballs, not a million of them.
This also gets into the distribution strategy. A blog post isn't like an Instagram story. It doesn't disappear.
It's an asset. It just sits there, working for you. People are still going to be Googling Jamaica land titles in 2030. If your article is there, you're getting leads while you sleep.
And they make a great point about repurposing for anyone who says they don't have time for a blog and social media.
The argument is that the blog feeds your social media. It's not a competition.
So what's that workflow look like?
You write one strong blog post. That's the hard work. Then you pull, say, 3 key points from it for an Instagram carousel. You take the checklist and turn it into a short TikTok video. You send the full article to your email list.
So the blog is the engine.
It's the hub. Everything else is a spoke. And I love this one tip in the guide, the client handout.
Yes, that felt like a game changer.
Imagine a client asks about closing costs on WhatsApp. Instead of typing a long, awkward reply with your thumbs, you just say, "I actually wrote a detailed guide on that," and send them the link.
It just elevates you instantly. You go from a salesperson to a consultant providing resources.
And it saves you so much time. Write it once, use it 100 times. That's an asset.
We do have to cover the warnings, though. Real estate is serious business, legally and financially.
Super important. The warning is simple. Do not pretend you're a lawyer.
Even if you've done a million deals and think you know the law.
Especially then. You can get into so much trouble. The source says to use phrases like generally, or in many cases, and always end with, but you should seek professional legal advice.
Telling someone to get a lawyer is probably the best advice a realtor can give.
It is. And weirdly, it makes you more trustworthy, not less. It shows you know your limits.
So we've covered the what and the why. What about the when? How often do you have to do this?
The guide suggests a rhythm of consistency over frequency. You don't need to post every day. That's just a recipe for burnout.
Oh, thank goodness.
They recommend a simple starter plan, 2 posts per month for 6 months. That's it.
That feels actually possible.
It is. And after 6 months, you have 12 strong, helpful articles. You have a base library of answers to the most common questions in your niche. Your website suddenly looks so much more professional and alive.
And that all comes back to the main idea, right? The title of the article, if you treat it like an asset.
Exactly. An asset is something you build once that keeps paying you back. A lazy post is just an expense. A service-oriented post is an investment that works for you forever.
You know, before we wrap, I noticed the author says at the end that they'll help people brainstorm titles if they reach out, which kind of proves the whole point.
It does, doesn't it? They're practicing what they preach, providing value to build trust.
So to sum it all up, blogging is dead is a lie, but me-focused blogging, that's definitely dead.
Correct. The future is service. It's about meeting that midnight Googler and offering a hand, not a pitch.
It's about picking a lane, NHT buyers, the diaspora, whatever, and just owning that space.
And it's about chasing friction, not trends, looking at your own WhatsApps for content ideas.
And finally, ignoring the vanity metrics of likes and focusing on the real prize. Trust, authority, and that warmer call.
That's the entire formula.
You know, this whole conversation makes me think we talk so much about marketing in 2026, about algorithms and viral hooks, but this guide makes it feel like true marketing hasn't really changed at all.
How do you mean?
Well, it makes me wonder, is true marketing actually about visibility, or is it really about generosity?
That's a powerful way to put it.
Seriously. Giving away your best knowledge, your expertise for free to earn trust before anyone ever talks about money. Maybe the best way to sell anything is to stop selling and just start helping.
I couldn't agree more. In a world this noisy, I think help is the only thing that really cuts through.
Something to think about next time you're staring at that blank screen. That's our deep dive for today. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone. Go start writing.
We'll catch you on the next one.